Hello everyone. This is my new YouTube channel. And also this is also my Twitch account. They all are named as Chess Blunders. So basically, I'm like an advanced beginner. So I want to basically play chess and also like chess games and chess puzzles, uh, on leechess.org. And I just don't want to just play and then make you people watch. I want to play these puzzles not in a very quicker way, but in a slow way, and then try to explain things so that a newbie can understand things. So I think today I'm just going to start with chess puzzles. So today I can maybe do like 6 or 7 puzzles. Let's see how depending on the time. We'll start with some puzzles and then we'll see where it goes. Okay. So, so this will be your first puzzle, we'll be solving today. So I just don't want to get into the puzzle right away. I usually try to understand the position better, because I like to have a positional understanding of the game. So which is something I feel is very important, because we can do a lot of tactics and then we can try to improve our tactic skills. But then I think positional understanding is very important if you want to go to the next level. So first I want to get a positional understanding of the position we look at in all the puzzles, and then I know evaluate how the position is, whether it is favorable for the white or it's for the black, and then then we can get into the puzzle and then try to solve it, right? So I'll do my best in explaining the position. It may or may not be good, but then I'll try my best uh, to explain you people what is going on in the position. Okay, so I think let's just start with the first puzzle. Okay, so I think we are still kind of in the maybe in the early middle game, or still in the opening of the game, I guess. It's just 11 moves played out um, from each side. So just to have a to give an idea of how the position is for white or black. So first I want to talk about white. White, I think, yeah, they really have good control of the center, which is something very important in chess. It's good to have good control over center. You can see these two pawns are actually controlling all these key important squares, right? Sorry about that. These key squares. This pawn is controlling these two squares, and this pawn is controlling these two squares. So these pawns are like really excellent for white. From white's perspective, because they are controlling these key squares. If you have a very good control over the center, it will be very difficult for the opponent's pieces to land on any of these key squares, because if you have your key big pieces in the middle of the board, they're going to control a lot of squares in the chessboard. So, and also having a very good control over the center also gives you a lot of space to maneuver your pieces. You can move around your pieces, so that they find the right spot. So I would say these center pawns are really a big strength for the white. And other than that, yes, white also has this open file, which white can move its rook anytime and then have a good control over the semi-open file. Why I'm saying semi-open, because we still have a pawn here, right? We still have a pawn here and it's not completely open. So if you don't have this pawn, I would say it's a completely open file. So it's this particular file is very good for white. I would expect the rook to go there very soon. And other than that, yeah, king is going to castle very soon. Still hasn't castled. And yeah, and all the other pieces are kind of developed, right? The bishop, the minor pieces are kind of developed, and yeah, and this knight can go anywhere soon, because right now I think this pawn is not supported. It's not defended by any white pieces. Probably knight is going to f3 soon, and then both the knight and queen is going to defend this particular pawn. And sorry, because right now this pawn is attacked by the knight. So yeah, so these minor pieces are also kind of developed, and right now this minor piece is hanging. um, so let's see what's going on with that, right? And yeah, so that is what we can say about the white position. And when we come to the black side, okay, good. So the king is castled. So I think the safety wise, I think Both the kings are, like, I would say, relatively safe. I mean, black is probably more safe because it has castled, and white is about to castle. I don't think, it's a big weakness for white. Otherwise, if I talk about the, the pawn structure, again, black doesn't have any strong central control uh, using its pawn. So probably, black is will play, d5. Talking about these coordinates, you know, d and 5. So probably black will play this d5 at some point to break the center. Right? So probably just try the pawns in the center and then try to keep the position open. That might be probably, black's idea, right? And yeah, these pawns are kind of little advanced. Probably black can try to get more space control in the future. And then with respect to the piece development, yeah, so these two knights are kind of, developed. um, and this bishop is, coming to b7 soon. So the bishop can indeed put pressure on this long diagonal, and it can also, yeah, put pressure on this particular pawn. uh, and black and white has to defend this, all the time. um, so otherwise, yeah, rook is also going to come. So it's come to, the e file. So I think it's good, if white castles very soon. So I would say overall, whose position I like better. I think I like white's position a little better, just because of the central pawns, and also rook, will be coming and sitting in the semi-open file soon. So because of these reasons, I think I like uh, white's position a little better. And also, not to forget, this bishop is eyeing on a very, important f7 pawn, which is going to be very, very important, because king is just directly sitting on this diagonal. So black has to be very careful while playing the game, along this white diagonal. This white bishop is going to be really powerful later on in the game. I'd be really happy to, exchange this white bishop, if possible, right? Because this seems to be a really strong piece right now. Okay, so now getting into the puzzle. So we have to find the best move for white. Okay, so black's last move is knight to g6, which you can see is highlighted in the green. So what can, white play for its advantage? So first we'll just think about, like, all the candidate moves. So candidate moves are nothing but, like, the moves which you feel can be played, you know in the first go. Just looking at the position, what are the moves, which we can play, which we feel, might be is meaningful, right? So we can come up with some candidate moves. So to start with, yeah, as I said, before attacking the opponent, think, about what opponent is trying to do, right? So right now, this particular pawn is being attacked, right? And we don't have any piece defending this particular pawn, and also the knight is also being attacked. So logically, first candidate move I would think of, is just playing knight of 3, right? Play knight of 3, you defend both the pieces. So in the first go, I would say, knight of 3, right? But then this is a very calm move, it's just nicely defending our pieces. So, like, can we find more aggressive moves, right? So I think first thing I can think about is this bishop. As I said, it seems to be a very powerful piece. So can we, make use of this particular bishop, sitting on, b3. And okay, so I'm thinking about this particular candidate move, knight takes f7. So knight takes f7, we are directly attacking the queen. So the queen is probably going to move away. Okay, let's say it is coming to, e8. It's probably, attacking this pawn. Okay, which may not be a good idea, right? Because if knight plays, here, d6, which is, then there is going to be a check, and then black will be losing its queen. So I would say e8 is not a good move. Okay, probably black should think about some other moves. Okay, knight f7, knight takes f7. Yeah, queen can go somewhere on this diagonal. where it can go. Actually, I like e7 because it is going to put some pressure on the e pawn, right? And you cannot just immediately protect it. Probably I have to play queen and stuff to protect it, but then it's anyway. I feel this is going to be a good move and attacking the white pawn. What about queen f6? Attacking this pawn. Okay, yeah, it can also play queen h4, but then I don't know. Okay, you cannot play queen g5 because knight is going to take the queen. So we have to be careful. So yeah, I probably the options are, queen can go to just e7, right, and then maybe f6 or h4. The other option is just rook takes knight, right? Then probably bishop takes rook, and then king is going to just take it. Okay, so yeah, it's so we are basically trading off two of our minor pieces for rook and pawn. So which you know may not be a good trade for white from white's perspective, because these two pieces look amazing. At least the white bishop looks really amazing. I think it can be used for some of the major threats in the future, like checkmate and stuff, threatening checkmate. So I personally would feel maybe this is not a very good trade. But then if that trade happens, let's say rook takes, bishop takes, probably king takes. So do we have any other tactics, like queen coming to f3, probably check? Do we have any other tactics here? I'm not sure where the queen will go after coming to f3 check. You know, this diagonal also looks weak right now, but bishop will come here and sit here at some point, like immediately soon. But then right now looks weak. Do we have any other candidate moves? Okay, forget about this particular diagonal for now. How about just bringing the queen, right? So this is also going to threaten checkmate. Queen coming here, and then queen takes h7, which is going to be a mate. So is that going to work? Okay, queen h5. Probably the only difference is just playing h6. Now will knight takes work. Knight takes f7. Knight takes f7. I mean, if rook takes, for sure bishop takes, king takes. Queen sitting here cannot do something. Can okay. Actually, you know what? Queen h5, h6. If knight takes f7, if it is rook takes, f7, then actually queen can take g6, right? And the rook is also pinned. It cannot move. Probably the queen is just going to come and defend this piece. And then bishop can take rook, and then queen will take rook, right? And then we can exchange the queens. You know, with a three-piece up, probably white is going to win. So do the that's why. Okay, I'm just looking for other alternatives. Queen h5, h6 is the only defense, right? Because I don't see any other way to defend it. I know queen takes knight can be one way, but then black is going to be losing a queen, so which is not a good favorable thing to do. So queen h5, I think h6 is the only option to stop this mate, right? Or maybe play the rook somewhere else like this, but then check. King is going to come here. Probably bishop takes. Okay, you know what? Like queen h5. If rook moves away, and then I think we have a check directly here, winning the rook. So I think this is the only reasonable defense I can think of. Okay, queen h5, h6, and yeah, we talked about. Hmm. Should this be like knight takes f7 or bishop takes f7? Which one is stronger? Okay, so bishop takes f7. Black kind of has a choice. Rook is not forced to take this knight. It can just move away with queen somewhere. For a better defense. Even queen can come to h4. It can chase our queen, or we might be forced to exchange this queen. But then I think if we play bishop takes f7, it's a forced move because it's going to be a check. Black has to respond, right? If it plays any silent move like this, king just going away, we'll just win a three piece. Like we'll win the knight just like that. If it is rook takes, then we can probably play knight takes. But queen will come for it if queen will come and attack the knight. Ha 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 ha. I feel bishop takes x7 is not a good idea because bishop takes f7, rook takes f7, and then queen cannot just take this knight because it's no longer pinned. The rook can just run away, or if knight takes rook, queen will just come for its defense. Then we can just run away somewhere. Hmm. So it's knight takes or bishop takes. I actually like knight takes. Just because after knight takes, if you just move the knight away, it's going to be check for the king. So I really like knight takes f7 for that reason. Although it's not a direct check, but we are attacking the queen. So black is kind of forced to play the queen. So if it plays queen h4 for the exchange, yeah, we can just play the knight away somewhere and then maybe get a check and then win this knight. But the queen is going to come and defend this knight somehow. So if a rook takes, I think it's favorable for sure, right? Because then queen takes and the rook is also falling very time like soon. So if it is some other queen defense, let's say queen f6 or something, you can actually chase the queen away. Okay, I think I like knight f7 better. Uh, Maybe here I haven't calculated very deep, all the variations. So, but I think I like the knight takes f7 better than bishop takes. So let's see how it goes. I'm just going to play it out. Hmm. Queen h5. See, yeah, that's the defense. So I think I'm just going to play knight takes f7. Okay, I just went for rook takes knight. Okay, so yeah, we talked about queen takes g6, right? Yeah, because if we play bishop takes rook right now, and just the king is just going to take the bishop, and we cannot take this knight. So I think first we should take the knight. Yes, it worked. So okay, I was just thinking about some alternative defenses. I just want to analyze it quickly with the engine support here, right? Okay, so queen h5. So yeah, this is one defense. This is the best defense, right? You don't want to give away your queen. So okay, at 6. So after knight takes f7, do we have any defense with knight queen, right? So if we come here, uh, knight takes at 6. Oh, which is going to be very bad. Okay, because knight takes at 6, you know, it's a bad pin, like bad check, right? If king somehow moves somewhere, for example, right, the just knight can just come here, checking the king, and then taking the queen. If black is not careful, you see, and this is also an option, not a great option, but then trying to chase the queen away. Yeah, it's bad. Okay, so I also want to check why this doesn't work, right? Bishop takes f7, check. Okay, the rook is just going to take it. The position has become very equal now. Okay, rook takes. We have to go with knight takes, right? Yeah. Now the king is just going to take it, and king is now right in time to really save this knight. Okay, I mean we can try f4 and then probably f5, attacking the knight and making use of this particular pin. But then I think black might have some defense, right? Okay, f4. Okay, queen h4, check, right? Now we are kind of forced to exchange the queen, and knight will just take the queen. Okay, yep. So thing which you can understand in this puzzle is like so you have to be very careful about this diagonal, uh, which white can exploit any point of time. So what has gone wrong for black? I don't know. First of all, you don't want to let your opponent's knight sit in some places like this. You want to chase away in a certain way, or you should at least block this diagonal somehow, right? Or try to exchange this bishop if possible very soon. Yep. I don't know what other things black could have done better. Um, yeah, probably upon really uh, stopping the bishop from really directly attacking f7. You know, could have been better, and you don't want to allow knights sitting like this. Yeah, especially queen is also going to come. Okay, I don't know why knight landed like this here. It's sometimes like it's very frequently you see knight sitting in f6, really stopping the queen advance like this, right? Also when you don't have a very good reason to develop knight elsewhere, it's always better you develop your knight to f6 or c6 or c3 or f3, because you immediately can control the center. It's not a good idea to go to the corner of the board with your knights. Okay, if it is, there might be reasons why you might have to you want to play knights here and stuff, but otherwise if you don't have a strong reason, I think you should always play your knights in those places wherever I mentioned, so that you can really control the central squares. That's good. And chess is all about squares. You want to control as many as square as possible, so that you can win the game. And especially, yeah, I actually forgot to do that in this puzzle. Also, when you analyze the position, you should also look for positional holes. Holes are just like the squares which are weak in the opponent's territory. So you want to like see holes somewhere here, right? Like if I have to see holes for black, I would probably want to see holes somewhere here. If possible we can put our pieces there, it's going to be very powerful. Okay, we can talk more about it. I mean, we can go to next position, and then we see uh, what we can learn next. Okay, okay, so just want to analyze the position very soon. Just want to tell you people what I think about the position from white's perspective and also from black's perspective. Okay, okay, first I'll just start with black. Right, so is there is any piece difference, I think, yeah. So mm, Okay, I think right now white is a three piece, like up, like it's better. It has one additional three piece. You can say like it has one additional knight. So piece wise, I think it's advantages for white for sure. Uh, so with respect to the position, okay, black king is in the center. I would say probably safety wise, it's not very great. Similarly, I don't think White King is also not doing very great with respect to safety, but I think I would say relatively White King is safer because you can see a lot of white pieces in close proximity to the Black King, and I think Black pieces are very doing a lot of things just to defend its own king, and I would say the safety of White King is probably better than Black. You know, just looking at it, probably there is some tactics going on, which for sure we will see, but generally I would say probably White King is better. Again, White King is it also doesn't have any proper pieces to defend in case if suddenly Black wants to start giving checks, some annoying checks, perpetual checks. Okay, we cannot give check here. Okay, so anyway, uh, and there is I think there is no strong piece to really stop these checks. Okay, knight is there. It can come as a handy piece for defense if required. Uh, so otherwise, I think Black safety is probably little less. Mm, okay, it's black turns to go. Probably I would not say okay. White is a three piece up because we can take this bishop given that black is going to play next. Okay, so that's an option. Uh, oh, black is also attacking the queen, so which means we can also take the queen, right? I would say probably then black is going to be very better. No, if you're just queen up. Otherwise, pawn structure wise, okay. So black has a majority. Um, in the side of the board, which is the queen side, which has a majority in the queen side. So why I'm saying majority because we have three pawns for black here, and there's just two pawns for white. Okay, so let's say we exchange all the pieces. Okay, and we are just left with king and pawns. Okay, and for some reason, if kings are very busy with their play here, without king's help, these pawns can move these pawns in such a way that one of the pawns will become a passed pawn. So what I mean by a passed pawn is something where it is free to move forward and it cannot be stopped by any other opponent's pawn. For example, right now I would say this particular white pawn is a passed pawn because there is nothing stopping this pawn from just marching down. We don't have any other black pawns to really stop this white pawn. So the pieces have to stop this particular pawn, and the king has to stop this pawn. So this is a very good pass pawn. Now the pass pawns will come in handy because if both the kings are very busy playing playing in left this particular side of the board, black can really push these pawns in a certain way that black will get a passed pawn, and then passed pawn can be really pushed. So then white will be forced to stop the passed pawn from queening. So in the meantime, so what you're basically doing is you're just distracting the white king to the other side of the board. In the meantime, black king can just win all the white pawns, and then try to push this pawn forward, to make it a queen. So pass pawns will come in very handy in the end game. Okay, so yeah, this is great for black because uh, it can win these pieces, and it's going to be really great for black. So probably I would say okay, probably black is doing better, although the these pieces look scary, uh, like but again, so we have some attacks going on, and to remind you people, yeah, it's black's turn next. Okay, uh, yeah, okay. From white's perspective, yeah, so it doesn't have it has a minority here, and it has a passed pawn here. I don't know. Probably the back's idea would be what white can do is probably keep these major pieces and try to checkmate the black king. I don't think it'll be favorable for white to wait for or to wait and then exchange all the pieces and go into an end game. I would say probably the end game is going to be a little favorable um, uh, for black. I think white should probably start pushing this pawn and try to create some opportunities right away. That is one thing which I think people say in chess: if you have fast pawn, just push it, right? And the opponent will be you know redirecting all their resources just to stop that fast pawn. Okay, and so what you can do is probably you can just distract all those pieces and go for some other tactic, so which is very common, right? So yeah, so I think, yeah, I don't think white is doing very great here. Yeah, right, because we can just take the queen. So yeah, otherwise I don't have to, I think I don't have anything to comment very much here. um, okay, I think we'll just get into the puzzle. So okay, what are the candidate moves, just to think right away. So what is the opponent threatening? He's threatening a mate in one move. Here, sorry, he or she, the opponent is trying to threaten a mate in one move, right? Queen of fate is a mate, so we should stop that, or we should find a line which is very forced, either to win a piece, or somehow we should stop the check or checkmate the opponent. So how can we do that? I think if I think about candidates moves, this is coming to my mind right away, because we are winning a queen, a very important piece, and we are also stopping the checkmate. So, and what are the other candidate moves? Okay, let's think about the forcing lines. Whenever you want to calculate a variation deep enough, uh, just first start with forcing moves, because forcing moves are probably easy to visualize and calculate, because there are not a lot of options for the white, sorry, the opponent to move around, so you can calculate it very easily, the forcing lines, especially the ones with the check and stuff, right? So this is good to start with. And so what white can do? If bishop takes queen, what white can do? Because rook is also rook is also being attacked. I don't know what's going on here. All the pieces are getting attacked. Queen is attacking this rook, bishop is attacking the queen, rook is attacking this bishop. Hmm. I don't know how this position was reached in the game. um, but let's say we play bishop takes queen and rook g8. What happens? Rook g8. Yeah, this king can just move away. Probably here, because we want to guard our rook. Do we have any knight charms after that? Yeah, I mean, if it's just black, white has to, yeah, knight coming here and it's going to control these important key squares. Bishop is already controlling these important key squares. I'm seeing that white has a chance, somehow to checkmate black king, but I don't see it right away just because of so many pieces are falling. Just feel just bishop to queen is just going to be winning for black, or am I not seeing something? Okay, let's check. Bishop takes queen, rook g8. I don't see any other strong moves, because pieces are attacked. So many pieces are attacked. So rook j8. Probably I want to go here, just to protect my rook. Probably knight is going to come. Check. And then king c8. Uh, knight f7. Because it's going to attack our queen and it's also going to attack our rook. Okay, and the rook here will be just taking, will be just be very interested to take, you know, rook d8, and then it's going to be checkmate. or king cannot escape anywhere, which is a big problem. And if just queen, let's say, goes somewhere, yeah, rook takes rook, it's going to be mate. Okay, we have to be very little careful. Um, okay, in this line, I just want to calculate again, because I want to see whether queen can start giving perpetual checks in between after knight f2, sorry, knight f7. Can we give perpetual checks to stop all these? Mm, probably we can give check again and try to move towards the king. Is that going to help in any way? I don't know. It's not clear. Maybe the game can also go for a draw, because once we take our knight out, sorry, once we run away with your queen, and we have to give perpetual checks continuously or win some piece, because the next move rook takes rook will be a mate. Okay, let's try the other variation. Bishop takes queen, rook g8. What about just king f7? We probably might rook or like have to give away our rook, but I think still the position is very strong, right? Because queen is there, so what do we have to worry about? And white will have just the rook, bishop, and knight, which also looks good if they can coordinate in a good way. Just to remind, our bishop also will be hanging after that particular move, and probably we have to take on e4, and then we probably have to make use of the spin and try to see whether we can win over this knight. Probably rook will come for defense, checking our king, and if our king just goes away, yeah, it's probably defending, and then just king can just walk away from the pin. Okay, I think this puzzle. I think in this puzzle, I think we should give away a rook. I think if we get into this line, it feels very complicated. Actually, I don't know. Black might be in trouble. I think this should be the key thing. Bishop takes after rook check. I think it'll be problem for black to step here. If it tries to protect its rook, it has to just go to f7. Okay, and you just have to give away your piece. Otherwise it can lead to very complicated positions, I guess. It's not very clear, but then I don't want to calculate very deep because it feels it's not going to work out. So why to get into a risky line? We can just, it's okay to give away a piece and then play a smooth position, which also feels very strong, to be clear. mm, and I think I believe queen can outplay, queen and bishop can outplay probably rook, knight, and bishop. And also with the passed pawn like this, uh, yeah, it can put some pressure, but after I think it'll be also key for this pass pawn will be key for white as well. If it can start pushing this pawn with the help of these minor pieces and also the rook. Okay, it's not going to happen because bishop is going to take this pawn very soon. So this is not going to work out. Okay, I think I'm just going to go with this line. After rook check, king f7. Okay, let's see how it goes. Uh, we missed that line. Okay, we didn't even think about some other moves. Yes, you can check the king in many ways, right? Like, yeah. Okay, let's think carefully about the defense because you have to make sure we uh, 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 that's the idea, and this is the only square to go for black king, It's a forced move, right? We cannot do anything about it. We have to play f8, and then we are just actually walking into this discovered attack. So Rook can just go here and then claim a check, right? And then the next move, if he just if king goes away somewhere, Rook is just going to win this queen. Yeah, that is what is going to happen. I mean, what can be better than winning a queen here right now? Because I don't see any mate coming right away. From here, why do I go with my king? Okay, let's say I move back. Rook takes queen. Our bishop is hanging. Actually, we don't have to go anywhere. Queen goes to f8, check, right? You can just play rook takes d6, and after rook takes queen, you can just play, rook takes rook, and probably white is just going to take the bishop, and black is going to play with the rook, and white is going to play with the knight. So rook is superior to knight. I think that's how. Yeah, that's how the game is going to be. Okay, so only forced move. Uh, okay. See, these are some of the variations I just missed out. Both are very same idea, similar ideas, but it's the same thing. Yeah, rook takes queen, and then this rook is going to take the queen. After that, pawn takes bishop. See, I just want to check out the other line as well. How bad it is. Wait, right. So after bishop takes queen, okay, let's say rook g8. Let's say we go here. What will happen? Okay, knight check. Oh, my bad. I just don't have to just run inside. Just take the bishop. Hmm. Actually, it's not bad. Actually, I thought it's going to be very bad for black, but then the king can just take the bishop. Okay, let's say we just go inside. Hmm. Okay, there is some play for black actually. Okay, my bad. I didn't calculate carefully enough. Because I was just if you play some moves like this, it's got to be a mate. So that's fine. Good. So I think yeah. So defense is very careful, right? Like although you should. So so some of my friends used to say if you are people are usually very good in attacking, but they are very bad in defending, right? And sometimes that is what something we are just focused on. We are very focused in our own ideas. We just fail to understand what the opponent is trying to do sometimes. So it's very important to first think what our opponent is trying to do, and then think about our plans. Sometimes attacking can be a very good defense if our opponent is trying to threaten us in a certain way. If you can counter attack, attack them in a some other way, so that an opponent cannot successfully execute his or her threat. Anyway, good. I think we'll just move on to the next puzzle. Okay, so again I just want to start with some some position evaluation. Okay. Okay, I'm just looking at the white's position. Hmm. Okay, so just want to start with king safety. Um, okay, so this diagonal is weak for sure. For white, it looks like a bird's opening. Recently I'm also trying to play a lot of birds opening. I don't know whether it's a bird's opening or the opponent played f4 at some point. Okay, it's not a bird's opening. I can see it. Okay, it's not just it's e4 e6, the French opening. Yeah, f4 has been played like recently. Okay, uh, that's fine. It's not bird's opening. It's French. Um, okay, so yeah, this diagonal can be an issue. So it's good that black doesn't have a dark colored bishop, dark square bishop. White has both the type of bishops. So people think having a double bishop is superior to having two knights, or probably even a knight and a bishop. And yeah, again, it all depends on the position. But then generally, you know, if you have to see if the position is closed, when I say the position is closed, probably the pawns sitting on the center of the board or on the side of the board, making it difficult for the pieces to move around, right? I cannot just take this queen to the other side of the board, so which means the position is kind of closed. Some of the pawns are in the board in such a way that it's kind of affecting the mobility of minor pieces or major pieces. So in that case, I would say the position is kind of closed and it's hard for pieces to move around. In those kind of cases, I think the knight is very superior because it can just jump over pieces, and then it can be very strong when compared to the bishops, because bishop actually needs like a open board where it can control the long diagonals or big diagonals, and bishop is going to be very superior when it comes to the open games. So this is still kind of closed, yeah, I would say. But then you can open it. That is also, you should also know exactly when to open up the game, when to keep the game closed. If your pieces are very active and your opponent pieces are not very active, if they're like very less active, so it's a good idea to just open up the position by some pawn trades, and then you can start attacking your opponent very strongly, and your opponent may not have time even to come and defend your attacks because his other pieces are very underdeveloped or not very active. Okay, so king safety, yeah, probably I might like black's king better, little better. But I think attacks are coming. Not sure. Mm, yeah, but generally with the pieces surrounding the king, uh, right now, for now, I think I would probably like black's king safety better than white king safety. King safety is very important when evaluating the position. Uh, okay, again, so with respect to pawns, okay, nice pawns. As you can use it for attack very soon. Uh, okay, and in the queen side, yeah, there are just one pawns. There is no majority as such, and yeah, the difference is somewhere here, right? So on the black pawns are very advanced, and they're like just a passed pawn. There is no other pawns to really stop these pawns, and they can be very very strong for black. I think if white doesn't do things in quick time, if white is not attacking the king very soon and then possibly create some threat, black is just going to win the game just like that. It doesn't have to do anything. It just have to just push these pawns properly, and probably white has to just give away one of its minor pieces to really stop these pawns, and it's going to be a huge advantage for black right away. So I would say these pawns are like really really strong. And yeah, from white's plus, okay, it has two bishops. That is one good thing. Okay, but I think it's going to lose its piece very soon. Okay, then I would say probably the position is kind of equal because these two pawns are really worth a piece, I would say, if black starts pushing. So I would say, just looking at it from a bird's eye view, I think the position is probably equal if white takes knight, unless let's say we don't have any big threat immediately. So I would say probably the position is equal. Yeah, and probably rook is going to take it, and this pawn is also going to become passed pawn. And these are connected passed pawns, right? It's going to be very strong. You don't have to Black don't have to really use its minor pieces or major pieces to really protect this pawn all the time. Uh, so it is already protected. So protected pass pawns are even more strong, especially if somehow black manages to exchange all the pieces. Okay, right now it is going to be a three-piece down, but then if let's say all the pieces, major pieces, minor pieces are almost very similar, if black can exchange all its pieces, it's these pawns are going to be very very strong in the end game. Other than that, piece activity, yes, yeah, white bishop can come here. This diagonal is going to is going to be better. Yeah, this is already good because yeah, white can I can really see white attacking the king side very soon actually. And yeah, rook is already placed well, I guess, and this rook can come to, I don't know, c1. Not clear, not sure actually. Again, black pieces, yeah, they are already kind of sitting in good places. Probably I don't want to keep the queen here because we don't want the opponent's rook to eye your queen. Okay, can be it's not a good idea, right? Because for example, if knight comes here at some point and let's say the bishop is here or some point, this the pawn cannot really take any pieces sideways, right? Because the queen is going to fall. So you don't want to get into step into any scenarios like that. So it's always not a good idea to have your queen on the same file as your opponent's rook, wherever the opponent's rook is placed. So you just probably want to play something like queen b6, which I would say is probably a very good square for queen right now, just because white has just weakened its this big diagonal. So black really should make use of this opportunity. Anyway, right now the pawn is going to come here soon. Probably rook is going to take it. But then if everything happens successfully, right? If queen comes to b6, it's going to be a check, and then it's also going to put pressure on the bishop. And if this pawn is not here, it's also going to put pressure on this bishop as well. But I think f4 probably. Okay, we don't know what are the situation and why I actually played f4, so it's fine. Okay, so this was the last move from black. So now white to move. What should we play? Just thinking about the candidate moves. So I think this is right away I can see is playable, right? Like we want to play it because we want to at least equalize or take we are getting a piece, so why not like play just b takes c5, so right away. So that is a possibility. But what is black trying to do here? As I said, it's because plan can be just pushing these pawns. But anyway, I don't see it right now. The spawns, being promoted right away. Probably black really has to do something. Maybe probably double up the rook, or even make a just play all the rook and queen somewhere in this file, and then try to play the rook down somehow. Again, bishop is guarding. So I think probably it's not a good time for black to push this right away. I would say uh, it might be problematic. Probably black should try to create maybe some other threat or exchange few pieces and then try to push these pawns maybe a little late, because otherwise I don't see a quick idea for black to push these pawns successfully or force the white to exchange one of its minor pieces for these pawn pairs or protected pawn pairs. It can happen, if if pawn can go to d2, and then if black can start playing these, it's going to be a big problem. Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's not maybe happening very immediately, but then black has to go for it, given that it's a three piece down. Like, yeah, yeah, a minor piece down. Okay, so pawn takes knight. So what's the best defense for black? Rook takes pawn is playable. You're also putting pressure on the bishop. Does black have anything else better, to do, or it has any solid plans, which we have to be careful about? Would really like to have the white bishop here, right? 'Cause just hiding the king all the time. We can just play queen takes bishop. Pawn takes knight. So what's the best defense for black? Anyway, after rook coming here, bishop is just going to go here. That's the only option. So we cannot play rook here. Yeah, and it's always very powerful, to play uh, your rooks and opponents, either like this the seventh rank or the second rank, because once the rook goes to the seventh rank, it is just going to attack all your opponents, pawns. Or even if black, if it comes to the second rank, it's just going to attack all your opponent pawns, so it's going to be very lethal actually. So usually it's a good idea to not allow your opponent's rook to come and sit in your, your second rank or the seventh rank. It's very important. Okay, I don't see any plans for black right away, anything of this sort right away. Okay, pawn takes knight. Let's say we have pawn d2. You can just play the bishop here, and rook can just take the pawn in the next move. It's not happening. Okay, I think this is going to be favorable for white, I guess, and I don't see any threat. But then white has that. Does white have any other strong moves, right? Anything better than pawn taking knight? I think these are good things happening, but then I think right again, not right now. I feel it's not going to be right now, right away. Okay, I think we can actually make use of this particular, attack, because if we can distract this bishop somewhere by playing this, right, it's going to be really great, because these pawn pushes are going to be really good. Okay, I cannot just play this pawn, I guess. Knight is just going to get the pawn. That's not at all favorable for us. Why not? It's a fork. But then what are we achieving? What are we achieving? We have opened up this diagonal for the bishop. If we take any of the hmm. Okay, if bishop runs away, okay, we cannot checkmate. Heh. Probably pawn takes knight, and then checkmate is probably coming soon. Okay, after this, bishop can just come back. Maybe I don't know. Then pawn can take this one, and if somehow a bishop can come here, which I don't see it happening because uh, I feel very sad that this bishop cannot come to this big diagonal. Now the question is f5 better than pawn takes knight? Because if you play f5, for sure we have to play this as well. Otherwise, there is no point of just playing f5. Actually, maybe not f5 immediately, right? If we play f5, okay, bishop takes, probably pawn going there, threatening mate. Bishop can just come back. Oh, actually, it cannot just be there and actually, if pawn takes, it's going to be a problem. Is it going to be a problem? Yes. Then if bishop takes pawn, then we are again going to get mate. Probably you just have to play this. Just knight takes pawn. No, not knight takes pawn because mate is. Oh, okay. Knight takes can pawn is playable because you'll be defending. Ooh, knight can defend this pawn. I think f5 is not working. Maybe e6 and f5. E6. What can black do here? Can just attack our rooks because this is not possible, right? I mean, just thinking about the different variations, like probably just knight takes because we it saves the knight mm, from the opponent. Hmm. Now f5. Yeah, bishop can just take again, right? Knight is anyway guarding it. I just feel like this pawn attacks can be used in white's favor, but then I don't see anything right away right now. Queen takes bishop, pawn takes queen, check. No point. That'll be a very bad sacrifice. What to do? What to do? Do we have anything better than this? Yeah, I think it's hard to push this pawn. Because if you push this pawn, I think knight is just going to come and take it and then it's going to defend the square. It's going to easily defend g7. Or it should be played after knight takes, pawn takes knight, rook takes pawn. Oh, it cannot be played actually. Because I know the issue. Because if pawn takes knight, rook takes pawn, right? Then we are pushing this pawn. You cannot take with this because bishop is falling. If you don't do anything, okay, pawn is going to take this particular pawn. I think it's going to probably weaken up things. Probably if rook takes, this cannot be played right away because rook here is going to take this pawn. Okay, it's not clear to me, how to push these pawns right now. It should be favorable. And as do we have anything else better for white? I don't see anything else better for white. So I think I'm just going to go with pawn takes knight. Probably it's not the best move. That's my gut feeling because there should be something else, which I don't see it right now. And I think this threat is real. If pawns move away, like, but then I don't see anything happening right now. Bishop is just going to take it. Hmm. Okay, let's see what is the solution. This is probably wrong, but then I'll just go with this line. Whatever I feel is correct. Oh, that's the move. Probably I was thinking too hard. Okay. Okay, then probably now we have to play, properly. Uh, uh, maybe to maybe from maybe from some threats from black because I wasn't seeing any threat right away. Okay, I thought going here is gonna stop everything. Rook is not gonna come anywhere, right? It's not gonna come here, 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 and then probably pawn pushes. But then I think we can deal with it, I guess, in certain way. I don't know what's going to be an issue. I'm right now just thinking about bishop a4. Nope, it's not going to be favorable for black. What else? I don't know. I don't have any other moves for the white bishop. Okay. Oh, okay. I don't understand. What was this puzzle about? I don't know. Maybe this can be. I don't know whether I should put a thumbs up or thumbs down. I mean, this puzzle can be like a bluff, right? People might start thinking very hard and then try to maybe do something here, but then the puzzle is not going to work out. So yeah, sometimes when you think about puzzle, we really want to find some moves, which is crushing. But then sometimes it can be just, a very simple move and then just protect all your pieces. It can be as simple as that. Actually, I just want to see how white is proceeding, right? Because I want to understand how this attack can be done in a successful way. So I just want to play the game a little bit. Okay, before that, I think I'll just try you know one of these lines and then see whether what we're thinking is actually correct. uh, I thought bishop will just take it. Let's saying queen b6 can be better, and even knight jumping here. I don't understand what's the problem if bishop takes pawn. Oh, I don't know actually. Because for sure this is not going to work because we know knight is going to take it, right? Yeah, like, see, that's the move. If you don't play it, it's going to be a mate. So, or you just cannot play these kind of moves. It's going to be hard. Okay, anyway, and this also should not work again. Knight is going to take it. Oh, I don't understand why knight takes pawn right now. Anyway, doesn't matter. Okay, how is, I just want to see some few lines how white can really do something here. I want to just understand the white's idea, based on suggestions from the engine. Okay, rook takes, knight going back. I'm just going to play this line right now, the top line. Rook e6, queen f2, rook c8, bishop d4. Yeah, probably bishop wants to stay here, to protect white king from any potential threats from black queen. Actually, that is also the reason why I think queen came here, right? I think queen can just come in. If queen can just come to d4, the black queen is going to be very active. Rook a b1. Sorry, sorry. Okay, b3, queen d7. Okay, right now I think black has this one passed pawn. Okay, again, it also has other passed pawns. I don't see this happening right away because see, bishop is right now sitting here, not letting any of these pawn pushes, and rook was also sitting here at some point. So anyway, for white, it's not working out. Right now, it's advantageous for white, uh, because it's a three piece up. Sorry, it's a minor piece up. But then at some point, this advantage has to be converted, should be used in a certain way, so that you get rid of these past ones at some point. So this is something which black can hope for. Probably according to the engine evaluation, it says white is better, but then certain positions are better, based on engine evaluation. But then how humanly it is, possible to play those positions perfectly. There are some positions which can be advantageous, but then it's not very easy to play. Maybe it does not human like variations to really play, or it doesn't have any catchable solid idea to play. Sometimes the materials are very equal, or even a side can be a piece down. The side can have an initiative, but then the side should know how to use those initiative to really convert it into a material advantage, which is something very important, right? Because at least personally for me, I'm still a beginner. Yeah, I can understand, these better positions, and having initiative is a very good thing, and stuff like that. But then at some point I want to see in the board, which actually where I can actually use that and then get a material advantage, which is something which I have to do, which I want to do, because that is my understanding. Maybe some understanding is too deep. Probably you just want to checkmate your opponent, and you don't really have to worry too much about the material equality or even material advantage. It depends. So yeah, I'm still a beginner. So okay, I think I'm just going to say success only. You can move on to the next puzzle. Okay, so again, I just want to start with some positional evaluation. Okay, it's Black's turn to go actually. Okay, so with respect to king safety, I don't know actually. Yeah, so these are like very dynamic position. I don't know, anything can happen. So I generally personally don't like to play a lot of open games, because it's like you have to think about a lot of variations. Can be a lot of potential threats because things are very open. If the position is very closed, you probably don't have a lot to think about, and it's going to be a lot of a positional play. I personally like doing that, and compared to a tactical play. Tactical play can be hard. It depends actually. It's maybe my personal choice, but then seeing a position like this, right away I would feel it's maybe probably hard to play, because kings are just in the center, or maybe weak. Anybody can attack anybody, right? White can attack black, or black can attack white. Also, it's not easy to play perfectly. But a close position, probably you don't have a lot of options, and you can pick uh, probably the best move. You can play out the best move. You can maybe probably find the best move easily. Again, people can have some other opinions, but it's my like personal comment. Okay, so I think safety wise, probably, I don't know. Again, it kind of makes me feel like probably blacking is slightly better, because it has some defenders around them. uh yeah, but again, if the game is trying to an approach to the end game, it's not a good idea to have your king in the corner. Okay, if both the sides, if they start exchanging pieces in a certain way, probably white king is going to be a little superior compared to black king. White king can probably easily march in, and then try to probably win some pieces, and then try to push these pawns. But for now, I would say probably like uh, black king's a little better position, because right now, yeah, I don't know, feel like white king can have some troubles, but I don't see it right away. But then I don't know. Hmm, yeah, not sure, not clear. Okay, so with respect to pawns, again, okay, white have some pawn majority on the king side, which can come in handy in the end game. But again, king is already here, so I'm not sure. It's not far away from the black king. So usually, if you have majority in a side which is far away from the king, it's a good idea, because you can distract your king and then try to play on the other side. I like the white's queen better, because it's very well placed. Black queen is kind of yeah, it can get into the game once a knight moves away, but then you know it can get into the game. But yeah, right now probably white's queen is better placed. And people generally say queen and knight can coordinate together better, and compared to bishop and uh, queen. Um, so probably, yeah, this can maybe cause some issues, but right now I don't see anything happening right away. Hmm. Yeah, this can be a problem for black. Rook coming here, and if black doesn't find a way to attack white's king very soon, it's going to be a problem. Yeah, this is going to be very problematic. Black has to be really careful with moves like this. That is why it's good to play open positions, because it'll kind of make you tactically, strong. uh, yeah, I should also start playing a lot of open positions. Okay, so I can really see it's a threat, right? Okay, wherever king goes, don't want to calculate very deep, but then I can really understand that it can be really dangerous for black. So there are some things, which you don't want to see very deep, because just by the piece density here, just all the pieces here, mate is going to happen somehow, right? Or at the worst case, you just win the queen if queen doesn't move away or something, whatever it is. Okay, so position wise, I would say it's like a double-edged position. Black, white. Actually, I think the whites piece are probably more superior, placed superiorly, but then white king is not really safe. So it's like who is going to be first. It's like a race now. Now the ball is in black's court. So can black really make use of this opportunity and then create some trouble for white king before white can play rookie six. This rookie is going to be very lethal. So what can be done? So if I think about candidate moves, queen b4, just the idea of bringing the queen into the game, because it's hard right now for queen to get into the game when this knight is very amazingly placed, right? Just controlling these key squares, taking away these key squares, from the queen to really get into the game. So if we have to bring the queen into the game, queen b4 is the only option, right? Um, but we have some other moves. Rook coming over, but then king is just going to attack the rook. Yeah, and then we just have to run away. See, this is also very interesting. If rook takes this pawn again, if it just moves away here or something, this pawn is going for promotion very soon. So this is a very advanced pawn. If white doesn't do things quickly, this can be really problematic for white. Again, right now the rook is guarding, so no issues for now. But then rook can go to b1 and then come to b2. But again, actually, white doesn't have to take. White takes, then white will be in deep trouble. What's the best the white can do is probably keep the rook just ideally there, because if rook takes pawn, then rook can take rook. Otherwise, this white rook has to be supported by the king, so that rook doesn't take the rook. I like this bishop, just controlling the long, diagonal, and also kind of a defending piece for the black. Okay, so right now I'm just trying to look for candidate moves. Yeah, one thing is good thing is you don't have a lot of pieces to move around, so it's not very hard to maybe probably find a which piece to move around, right? So yeah, bishops are not going anywhere. I don't see a point, you know. Okay, a good point for bishops to go away anywhere. Um, so rook, this is also not really helping, because king can easily attack, and I don't see a way. Then I just have to run away with my rook. So probably I would say queen b4. Although it's silent, it's not very forcing, but then we're actually threatening something, and it's not very hard, easy for white to guard this diagonal because we have a bishop. So I would say I like queen b4 better. Okay, let's go with, let's say, queen b4, and then rook e6. And from here we have to be, very very careful. Okay, it's not going to work actually. No, I'm sorry, maybe it'll work. Sorry. Uh, Queen c3, queen c3, then king has to either go here or here. For some reason I don't like this. Then king is forced to go here, and this should be mate. Which means probably king has to go here after rook check. This is not fair, but we just saw king coming here, rook check, king going here, forced mate. Probably this is option for white. No, again rook check. Wow, that's a mate again. So it cannot go here. It has to come here. And it's going to be a mate again. Okay, so this looks very strong. But then white can do better. It doesn't have to play, rook e6. So it has to somehow stop this. So how is white going to stop it? Stop this check. Can king run away? Yeah, if king comes here, then white doesn't have this idea anymore. But then maybe you have to play it. I think I would really like to have my queen in this diagonal because it's going to be really painful for white. What's the best defense for white there? Knight can come here, but then what? Oh, okay. If knight comes here, then queen will enter the game very easily. Then it's going to be a problematic. It's going to be problematic actually for white. If queen enters the game, then it's going to come here anyhow. And rook can join the party. Some reason I don't want to calculate very deep, but then I feel just knight going to c5, sorry, not c5, e5, uh, may not be a best defense. Just queen coming here right away. What about rook coming here? Again, queen will enter very soon, which will be problematic for white. I think the point is somehow white has to stop, queen getting really active. Because with this very dangerous bishop diagonal and a very unsafe king, it's going to be really, really problematic. We just have to somehow enter. Right now, I don't know what may be the best defense. Probably there are a lot of ways, white can respond. Um but then, queen come here, and then rook is going to come here, uh, or just running away with king. I don't know. Anyway, queen is going to come here. It's going to be problematic soon for white. But or probably white has to, run away like this. I don't know, because black also don't black doesn't want, white king to just run away here. It wants to keep the king somewhere here so that we can make use of the, uh, uh, black bishop's control over these dark squares. So we don't want the king to run away like this or like this, whatever way. But then I don't see any strong more than, queen b4. I'm just struggling to find maybe the best defense for white right now. Because if queen can come here, king cannot just run away. It has to stay here. You know, stay below rank 3, probably in these two squares. If queen successfully comes here. If rook is trying to guard that, then probably he can come here. Can queen help right now? I don't think we can help do anything right now to stop this. Okay, so the idea is I don't want to calculate very deeply. I just want to make a decision right now. Just play queen b4 and then try to get into the game somehow. Oh, actually, knight can be played. What I was thinking. My queen is no longer here to come like this. What do I play with knight e5? I don't know. Ooh. Feels complicated. What to play after 95? Because just stopping bishop's diagonal, and I can no longer use the diagonal, for my advantage. I should have some play with my rook. Something like this. Not a bad idea though, right? Because queen can jump in. Rook comes here, then yeah. What if rook comes here? I don't know. Otherwise, I also don't see any other way of, by which I can activate my queen. Let's see. Yeah, it's an open question. I could not think all possible ways right now, but I think I'll just go with, queen b4. Let's see how where it goes. Okay, that's not the answer. So we were thinking about a wrong move. What can we do? Because this looks very strong. What can we do? What to do? What to do? It's not clear to me actually. We don't have a rook move for sure. All these things look very late, very slow. Yeah, I'm just thinking about activating my queen, but then how? Okay, so queen c6 and then d7. I don't know. Or here, do we just have to defend it instead of counterattack? We somehow have to stop this happening. How do we stop this happening? I think if we can exchange our rook somewhere, yes, it'll be a good idea. And I don't see a way right now. Not clear, not clear. It's not clear. Okay, let's see this line. I don't know. King cannot do anything alone. I mean, it can do checkmate in certain scenarios, but then I think it'll be hard here. Yeah, I'm not sure. So I think I'm just going to try out some moves because I don't have any idea. Just try playing out all candidate moves and then see whether anything works out. So that's not the one. It's not working. Then I had these were the moves I thought were candidate moves, but then none of them were correct. I don't see this point anyway. Wow. I didn't see that move because I thought, okay, rook takes. Okay, let's just finish the puzzle. Yeah, I think this should be the one. But I thought, okay, rook takes. Okay, engine is suggesting this. So what's the problem with this? Oh, okay. Although this is very strong, I think white doesn't will not have maybe probably enough time. Okay, it's just mate in 8 moves. Oh my god. Hmm. Wow. I'm not sure whether I'll be able to find the sequence myself. All the 8 moves might be a good thing to practice. Wow, there's a lot happening. I'm not sure whether I'd be able to find all these, man. Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. See, sometimes it's hard to see these moves because although you have an advantage or something, even in a real game, if I know that queen can probably take this after rook takes. I'll be really suspicious. I don't know. I'll somehow may probably will try to stop this. Again, I don't know how to do that. Just because it's a puzzle, I'm trying to find a counter attack very actively. But then, if it is a real game, I'm not sure. Yeah, probably king check. Okay, rook cannot come down. Oh man, this is going to be very hard. Probably I would have resigned, or maybe with some desperation, I would have played some move. Wow. Still, I would not be like really convinced. If for sure, if white plays here, still I'll not be confident that I can at least like win the game. I'll be like really doubtful whether I can even defend it. Wow, this is, yeah, great. See, sometimes these are the reasons why open games can be very interesting, because there's a lot of tactics going on. Okay, if you want to like really get better at tactics, probably you should try playing like open games more. Okay, so that's good. I think we have, yeah, time for one more puzzle. Like I think yeah, can just do one more. This is a good puzzle. Okay, so this is like game is like in the end game. So small number of pieces, and then white's pawns are a little advanced. Just looking at the position right away, I feel white can be little better right away, because pawns are like very much advanced. And then yeah, sad part is these two pawns are not connected. They're kind of separated, so that is not a good thing for white. Otherwise, white has a good advantage because pawns are very advanced and king is in front of the pawn. Probably, if you're not familiar with king pawn endings, it's really favorable to have your king in front of the pawn while advancing, because king can just really kick away the opponent's king to really get the pawn promoted. So yeah, maybe we can talk about king pawn endings at some point of time, but then it's good to have king in front of the pawn. And yeah, I would say, yeah, probably uh, black's position. Right, like white position is probably a little better, but then again, so these pawns are like past pawns. They can just quickly run away if white doesn't do things quickly. If he doesn't push these pawns quickly, uh, black is just going to you know run with his or her pawn, and then just make queens. So white has to play actively to really do things, and it's hard for white to even defend these if it thinks about defending. So that's the thing about bishops are like long range forces. It can, sitting in one place, it can eye on multiple places of the board, or even it has to run from one place of the board to other place. Bishops can run quickly, right? But knights, it's going to take a lot of time for it to really come for any defense. So knights are very short range forces. In the end game, if all the pawns are concentrated in one place, probably knights are very superior. If pawns are scattered everywhere on the board in the end game, probably bishop is little superior. Again, it depends on the position. I'm just saying this just based on the normal things what people usually think about. Um, and again, the other caveat is again, so bishops cannot control black squares, right? So this bishop can be used only to control half the board. But this knight, although it can take time, but it can at some point can maneuver in a certain way, uh, and it can control all 64 squares on the chessboard. So it depends on the position, and then what we really want. Depends on purely based on position. But if I have to make a general comment, I would probably say if pawns are just in one place, one side of the board, I would say probably knights is a little better. Okay, so king, white has to move, and king has just moved away. So just I think probably the capture or something, it just went to f7. It's white to move. So candidates move, as I was telling you people before, I think just push the pawn, right? Um, Again, you're threatening to promote soon. So, and it's also checking the king. So why not, right? And probably if you give a check right now, the king is probably going to come in front of the, white king. So which is called opposition. Opposition is something, you move your king in such a way that your opponent's king cannot, advance, right? So right now the king is free, to advance by just going to d6. But then let's imagine it's black to move, and if black king comes here, it's very hard for white to advance right now, right? So probably this is a very good time. Probably white king can just go to, d6, taking control over these important squares. Okay, I don't know, because if king goes here, this pawn can be pushed right quickly. So better thing is probably take your king to d6, push the pawns, and probably the king really wanted to be here, because if whenever the pawn comes here, probably bishop will take, with king's protection. So the best we can do is probably go to, well, take your king to d6, play e5, and then play g6, or then maybe g7, distract the king, right? And then play. Ooh, that is sad. You play e6, bishop will just take e6. The problem is we cannot just lose, both the pawns. If you lose both the pawns, then white cannot win the game, because white cannot win the game just with knight. It needs another piece, a rook or queen, to win the game. So we cannot just sacrifice both of our pawns. So we have to play very carefully, such a way that the black will just give up its bishop for one of its pawn, and then we will have time to, promote the other pawn. And this knight has to somehow go and stop these pawns somehow, right? So that we exchange probably this pawn for this bishop, and this pawn goes for promotion in the future. So that should be the idea. Somehow we have to exchange this pawn for this bishop. This knight has to go somehow stop these pawns, and once somehow, I don't know, somehow actually not just stop, somehow this knight has to win over these pawns somehow, so that knight will be free to come back and probably help. Actually not, yeah, you can just stop actually, and then we can push these pawns, and black will be forced to play, some moves. That time we can capture these pawns. Okay, now we have just two positions, like two candidate moves which I can think right away, can be played. uh, g6 and uh, king d6. I just like king d6 right now. I mean, just because of this reason, right? Because we don't want the opponent to play king e7, just completely stopping us to do anything. Yeah, and we cannot just give up our knight also to the bishop. If we give, we have to be very very careful. We should make sure we promote the pawns very quickly and then stop these two pawns. Okay, let's think about, g6. No, okay, let's go with the move which I like better, right? uh, King d6. What's the best defense? Okay, just start pushing. Then probably yeah, um, e5, another push. Then probably we want to check here first, distract the king, from these two squares. Yeah, and it cannot be here also because pawn will be sitting in e5, so king will be distracted away. Then we will be free to play, e6. Then probably now bishop has to trade, otherwise Bishop has to come a long way to defend this square. Sorry. It will be hard for the bishop to stop this promotion. You cannot just stop it like this because white king is going to take it. So I think I like this idea now. King d6, you know, just a5 and then e5, then probably, a4, then check. Probably king is pushed back. Then we can play e6. Bishop has to take it. It's going to be very problematic if bishop tries to come behind. Okay, one, yeah. Mm, what to do? Yeah, this is an option actually. Can come behind. Yeah, so there's no counter attack like this. Thanks to the knight, it's very well placed. I like this setup. Just not allowing, um, just not allowing your opponent to come, anywhere closer. It has to come around if it has to attack. Yeah, could not think of any better defense than this. So, why do we play the king? It's either here, here, or here, and you can go here also. But let's say we play it here. I don't know, may not be a good idea. Okay, but I think we have to play this first, and then this. The moment we come here, the bishop has to rush back. So I would say king can be played here maybe, so that it can keep an eye on both the sides, or even here. And actually, bishop, it doesn't want to come here, in the very beginning, because these moves are going to become very easy. But again, if bishop comes here, I don't know how we are going to stop this. Probably we have to put some pressure here. I don't know, because at some point we also have to, you know, the king cannot just keep supporting this pawn like this. It has to go like this, and then try to, push this. The moment white king goes away from its own pawn, black king will try to take the white pawn. Oh, how it's not clear right now, right away. It's hard to calculate all the variation right now. So I like king d6 anyway, just to have control over these key squares. But what is the problem if we start with this? King probably, let's say, go here. If it comes here, king can go and attack back. How are we going to support this pawn? This is not a good idea. Maybe it's a good idea, I don't know. Because our pawns will be connected then. Again, it's not necessary for black to take it, but then we cannot advance our pawn. It's like getting ourselves into the trap, walking into the trap. Not a good idea. What do we play actually? Suddenly our king becomes very passive. Okay, I think I don't. I think I really want to play, d6, and then e5, g6, and then e6. Whatever may be the defense from black. Okay, let me start with this. That's not the move. That's not the move. Do we have anything better? Maybe it's the other candidate move. Yeah, it's the other candidate move. I was thinking black is going to just play this. If this is the case, then king can easily, just go inside. Okay, that is not the move again. Oh, okay. This is kind of a trap, right? Fork and we are just going to win the bishop. So check, king has to move away and then you can push the pawn. Wow, this is going to be very strong. I like this. But then, yeah, probably this is the best defense. And then king can come forward, push this. And probably this king will take this pawn. King can then march forward and then pawn will get promoted very easily. Wow, I like this. Yep, yep, yep. Just want to see this variation. Okay, it should be favorable. See, you have to connect these pawns. Don't make the mistake of taking it with the king. Right. Okay, let's say this is the best defense, but let's see. See, you can just give it a check. It's going to come here. We are going to take it. Yeah, anyway, pawn is at the end. It's going to come here. And then we can just push the pawns. And these pawns will be no time to, I mean, these pawns are going to be very slow to get to the last square. Anyway, I don't want to play it out because anyway, it's a kind of up. Yes, I don't know. Yeah, I can just play this. I don't have to think very much about the engines because this is like what to do. Like these are like endings which we probably want to be like certain endings we just want to be very comfortable with. It's good to learn in games because it will give you a very good idea to really how to even play even the openings or even in middle games. Because if you're on a middle game, you know and if you have a chance, you can simplify the position. How you can simplify the position? You can just trade off all the major pieces and you can just get into an end game which is kind of favorable for you. You don't have to complicate things. You can just really trade off pieces and then get to the end game. So it's a very important to and have an understanding about the end game so that you can finish the middle game easily and then get into the end game. Okay, so what about, so just want to check the other variations, what are the problems with those. uh, okay, we gave a check, so I was thinking why not play just this, stopping our blacking from getting anywhere. Okay, it is still suggesting this. Okay, let's say I just play some calm move, like very silent move. Okay, like this. Okay, so king is going to come in like this. Okay, understandable to a certain extent. Okay, again, the bishop takes knight is not going to be favorable. Connected pawns, it's going to be a big trouble for black king, especially if the white king is guarding those passed pawns. It's going to be very, very difficult for black, especially this much advanced pawns. Yeah, again, the moment knight comes here, this pawn is also running. It's going to be very, very, very hard actually. Yeah, I was thinking too deep into the game, but then these moves are very, very strong right away. Yeah, yeah, it just, I don't know. If we go here and see, I don't know, these pawns are just going to run away. You just cannot do anything. Very strong. I think it was a very good puzzle. I like it. I personally like to do end game puzzles more. I like them because first of all, it's small number of pieces. Okay, you don't have to get into this complicated like thinking which piece I should move. You just have to in end game more than the actual move at that point of time. It's mostly about what is the general idea, right? What is the general idea I should proceed with? That is sometimes more important in game, because s- some in games, yes, it requires a very perfect play. Sometimes you just need to have an idea. I mean, as I said, when these were exchanged, it's favorable. As a black, you should know this is not a good exchange right away. And if it is an exchange and you don't want to take it with the king, not a good idea. You want to connect the pawns. These are like general ideas. If these are pawns are connected, and if king is protecting these passed pawns, you don't have to think about anything. This is a win. So there are some general ideas only, which you have to be really careful about. And sometimes you don't want to calculate very, very deep. And they're interesting because I started appreciating all these pawn moves, or pawn rounds, because as a beginner, for me pawns are just there. I generally don't make any pawn moves. I don't sometimes use really pawn as a actual an attacking piece sometimes. So I started appreciating all these things, once I start seeing the end game. Just see, like, the setup, as I said before, is very, very good. Just because just not letting the king come forward. So these are something, very interesting. I'm sure, like, you start seeing some of these end games, puzzles or studies. I'm sure your chess is going to become very better in many ways. Like, you'll start worrying about the pawn structures, because the game at mostly it's going to go to the end game. So you should start worrying about all these things, and you will have more idea, because given a position you might feel, uh, there are many, five possible things which I can do. Okay, but if you take the same position to an advanced player, okay, probably he would see, out of those five moves, he can tell you maybe just two moves are good, or just one moves are good, because he has many ways to filter out bad moves. So at least we should be comfortable, in identifying, which move might be a very bad move, at least with respect to position wise, or maybe in the future wise, strategy wise, how it is going to be helpful or bad. Okay, I think I really had fun doing puzzles today, with all you people. I hope you people enjoyed, or maybe you people might be watching after the live streaming is done. It's going to be in the Twitch for 2 weeks. Anyway, I'm going to upload these videos in my YouTube channel as well. I hope you can see all my other social media informations in the bottom of the screen. If you like it, please, come every Saturday morning, 10 to 12, based on the Eastern Standard Time, US. If you are in India, it should be, live from 8:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. I hope people enjoyed, and you people learned, something from this video. See you next week. Hope to see you people soon. Have a great weekend. Take care.